Why, hello there. It's been a while since we've done a outside riding video. So here's the thing. I know it looks glorious, but it's still actually pretty cold. It's a couple degrees over freezing. A little bit of a breeze. So this isn't going to be the longest ride video, but I thought I would take out the Jamis Renegade for a first ride. Plan is to take it up a local ski hill. A lot of the gravel roads are still frozen or under snow. So no grav today. I'm gonna try to ride it in as much of its stock form as possible. But I have had to change some things already to make it fit. I'll get into that a little bit later. Actually, let's get into it now since we're on a kind of a quiet road here. One of the biggest changes I had to do was swap out the handlebars. So here's the deal. I was supposed to test ride the next size up, but it got sold because of the pandemic, so I'm riding a smaller size, and it's been a real struggle to get the fit. One of the big things is the stack height is a lot lower than I'm used to, but then it dawned on me that these kitchen sink handlebars by Redshift conveniently make up the stack height I lost with a little bit of rise in the bar. So you can see that here, two little humps that just raise the bar just a bit, so it gets me in that happy spot for my riding position. And I gotta say, they are super comfortable. Stoked. I was a little concerned at first that I couldn't get them on because they are considerably wider than the older bar, and this has hydraulic disc brakes and I don't want to deal with rehosing it. But there was plenty of slack, so it actually worked out okay. So the way I would usually go, which is a little bit more car-free, still under ice, a little bit more of a road ride than I want to do, but you know, what are you gonna do? Gotta make that content. Just a quick break from the road to admire the view. It's happening, guys. Spring is coming. Not quite here, still pretty cold. That's to say that this is going to be probably my longest ride of the year so far. Usually during the winter, I do more running than riding, and but so close, we're getting there. Okay, so a couple things about this bike since we're on a little bit quieter road. Rear chainstay is 427, so it kind of falls within that range for quasi-tucked to all-rounder. And to me, it definitely leans more on the all-rounder side of things. Not quite as sporty as a road bike. In the rear, feels kind of like a Kona Rove, actually, very similar. Probably the most interesting thing I'm noticing about this bike so far is the front end handling. It's been a while since I've ridden a bike with 700/40, and the first thing I'm noticing is how stable the bike feels. It takes a little bit more effort to destabilize the bike, even though they've supposedly adjusted for it in the custom trail for the different size ranges. It could just be the gyroscopic effect of a larger wheel and tire. It feels like more wheel and bike to push against when you're standing and really throwing the bike around. It pushes back a little bit more than a smaller wheel / tire bike. So neither good nor bad, just what I'm feeling. Okay, let's get on to the actual climbing part. Yay, climbing, everybody's favorite. So a quick update on the bars. So far, really digging them. In this case, I use them as kind of a corrective measure, if you will, to increase reach via wider bar and increase stack via rise. Probably not the suggested use. Definitely better to get a bike that fits right, but it has made this bike 100% more rideable for me. All right, this road's actually looking pretty good. I was a little concerned that it would still be pretty icy. Not the case. It's a little concerned I should have brought some bear spray, but we might still have a few more weeks before we gotta start packing it on the regular. I was also concerned, and rightfully so, that I'm horribly out of biking shape. So I'm gonna take a quick break to answer a couple of frequently asked questions. One of them is, which GPS do I recommend? To which I would say it really depends on the kind of ride. A ride like this, for example, where I know the route and the primary function isn't to navigate, but just to record metrics, I actually prefer a watch. This is a Garmin Fenix Solar or something like that. I'll link to it in the description below. I love it because this has excellent battery life. Older Garmin watches I've used, they just run out of batteries in a couple of days, but this I can go for like a week and a half and if you live someplace sunny, you never have to plug it in. And it's great for recording things like distance, speed, elevation, and heart rate. Another cool thing about this watch in particular is you can actually broadcast the heart rate. So if you use it with a Wahoo Bolt or a Garmin device, this can also double as your heart rate monitor. So if you hate strapping something to your chest, then this is a cool option. Also really functional in terms of using it for running, which I've been using it mostly for running during the winter. But if you're not navigating, I would actually consider a running watch. Okay, back to the climb. Whew, a little chilly in the shade. I have missed this, however. It feels like a lifetime ago since I've just done a quiet mountain climb. And I miss it. I really, really miss it. Things have been pretty hard, aside from just winter. You know, Laura's cancer treatment, getting through that. In a way, it's kind of deprioritized bike riding. Not that I like riding less. There have been more important things the last couple months, if you know what I mean. But hopefully soon, this summer, Laura will be able to recover and we'll be out on more rides again together. I'll be doing more solo rides, you know, for the first part of this nice season. Just not as much fun without Laura. So I'm hoping she can make a full recovery and things go well next couple months. We can have more bike adventures together. But look at this. It is a beautiful place to live, especially when it's sunny and glorious like this. Yay! Made it to the bottom of the top of the hill, which is the bottom of the little ski hill in town. I think I'm gonna put some layers on. Okay, so quick summary of this bike so far before I go bombing down the hill. Much improved with the Redshift Kitchen Sink Handlebars. It increased the stack height and the reach. Again, this bike is a size too small for me. So here was kind of a corrective measure for the bike size. In terms of riding with the bars, I actually really enjoyed it. Not too wide, at least for me, and the drop, although a little bit more drop than the Ritchie VentureMax, not so much that it felt really awkward, nor did it make the drop part unattainable. It was not an aspirational drop, but a functional one. I think the bike leans a little bit more towards all-rounder than something super sporty, which isn't a bad thing. Haven't had a chance to ride the bike on gravel, but I do think that this bike is going to be fairly well tuned for it. In terms of groans and niggles, I think a size 51 should definitely have 650B tires. I did find myself getting like a touch of overlap on really slow, tight turns, and it just makes sense for a bike this small to go OEM 650B. And interestingly, although they do have an adjusted fork rake to adjust for the trail of the bike as it gets smaller, it didn't feel quite as responsive as I was expecting. Not quite as high trail as my Bambora, but definitely a little bit more stable feeling that I would expect given the trail number. So it will be interesting to see how it feels when I swap it out for 650B, if that brings some life to the bike, if it affects overall stability, all that good stuff. But I have to say, lots of bang for the buck. If you can get a hold of the Jamis Renegade, I definitely throw a leg over it. Oh yeah, one last thing that I did not like is the Cell Royale saddle. The shape doesn't suit me, but also the rails are really soft and it's really hard to micro adjust it fore and aft. It would just bind with the seat post clamp and yeah, really tricky to adjust. Anyways, enough bike nerdery. Let's go downhill. Okay, so I just did the complete descent, which was beautiful, and realized I may not have actually started the camera, in which case that is why you're getting this ending. But trust me, it was awesome. In terms of descending, the bike was nice and planted and stable. I love the wider stance of the handlebars. So far, a winning combination. The only thing that put me off really is just the size. Not the fault of the bike, you know, pandemic, the proper size bike got sold out before they could send it over, so you know, first world problems. Hopefully you're digging this video, and if you like this content, consider supporting the channel by visiting our store. At the end of the day, I am just a glorified sticker salesman, and all those little sales help this channel going without major sponsorship. It allows me to talk about bikes candidly and in ways that, you know, I want to talk about them. So if you're into that, check out the link below, and as always, keep the supple side down.